Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Andrea. If you haven't been here before, thanks for stopping by. Today we're gonna get ready with some things that I pulled out of my makeup stash. So I basically shopped my stash already and I'll be showing you guys the products. So let's dive right in. So first for primer, I have two. I'm gonna use the ColourPop Pretty Fresh and the Milk Hydro Grip Primer. I've only used both of these once. I typically like to put on a hydrating primer and then a pore filling / mattifying primer in the center of my face. My skin is a little dry and a little oily, so I like to use both. So I don't have full thoughts on these, but they've been in my collection for a little while, so I wanted to get some more use out of them. The ColourPop one feels really nice. I've been scared to use the Milk Hydro Grip because people have said that it breaks them out. Like quite a few people I've seen on YouTube have said that, and I'm acne prone. Got a little friend coming in right here. So I'm just putting this Milk Hydro Grip more in the center of my face. And from what Samantha March has said, you have to let this one dry down before you put foundation on it. So I'm gonna wait a minute. While we're waiting for that, we're gonna go ahead and hop into eyes. And today we're gonna use the Sweet Talk palette from ColourPop. This is what it looks like. And I've enjoyed going back to Tarte Shape Tape to use as my eyeshadow primer. So I'm just gonna throw that on real quick. And I used a Morphe E48 for that. The powder that I pulled out is the Becca Hydra Mist powder. I liked this when I first got it, and it's that type of powder that has a cooling sensation, so it almost feels wet when you put it on. But after you've had it for a little while, it doesn't do that anymore. And mine has lost that, so it just feels like a normal powder. And I just use the Wayne Goss, I believe this is the airbrush. I'm gonna throw some lip balm on real quick. This is just the Laneige lip balm. That's what I normally use. That feels better. So first I'm gonna go into Dream Maker. And this brush is a Royal Lange Nickel Moda Pro BMX 430 crease brush. I'm just doing windshield wiper motions. And I'm gonna also throw that on the outer corner. Make sure I get in this little inner corner here. I love me some monochromatic makeup looks, and I have a feeling this is gonna end up being a peach monochromatic look today, which is something I do a lot. So next I'm gonna take a MAC 217 and I'm gonna hop into the shade Meadow. I'm just gonna add that in the same places. So with the same brush, I'm gonna hop into this shade. It's called ICYMI. I forgot to zoom you guys in for the eyes, so we're here. I just had to put my dogs outside. They were being obnoxious. Couldn't stop moving around. So I'm gonna go in with this shade a little bit. It's called West Side, and try to just deepen up the crease a smidge. So now I'm gonna go in with my NYX glitter glue. I almost always use this when I'm putting any type of shimmery shade on my lids. It just helps it stick, and it intensifies the shade quite a bit, which I personally love. If you want something that's not as opaque and shiny, I would go without this. So now I'm gonna go in with Garden Date and then put the Super Shock shade on top. It's in this shade Side to Side. I haven't done this before, but I just did it on my hand and it looked really pretty. And I'm going in with my finger. I typically do this as well to intensify shades and get the most pigmentation. And it's really easy to blend the shade out with your finger as well. If you have long nails, it might not be the easiest way to do this, but as you can see, I have nubs right now. That shade is much brighter than I thought. Hopefully this Super Shock shade will tone it down a bit. Wow, that's beautiful. This is one of my favorite eyeshadow palettes, and I haven't used it like all summer. Normally I use it a lot during the summertime because I love peach shades. I do have a little bit of fallout from that Super Shock shade, but I don't really care. I feel like every time I use glitter, I always end up with it all over my face. Like, that's inevitable. I'm gonna deepen up the lash line a little bit, and I'm gonna go in with the shade Feel Free, and I'm using a Morphe M432. And I've been using eyeshadow instead of eyeliner for quite a while. I feel like an eyeshadow wing is really gorgeous. Let's go ahead and do the brows real quick. Normally I do my brows like towards the very end of my routine, but I've done them first recently and I think I enjoy it. So, okay, I have quite a few products here, but we're gonna start with this. This is the Iconic London Brow Cushion in the shade Medium. I got this in a BoxyCharm a while back and I absolutely loved it when I got it. It was super pigmented though, like you had to be really careful. I think it's since dried out some. And it comes with this little brush as well, and I use that to do it. So I'm just gonna brush my brows up first. My brows don't want to stay up like ever. If you have any brow gels that stay up, please leave them down below. I don't love this product as much as I did when I first got it. I feel like the cushion has dried out quite a bit and it's a little bit harder to use, but it is what it is. I may pass this along. So for a brow gel, I'm gonna use this Tarte Busy Gal Brows in medium brown. I like this quite a bit. The spoolie on it is quite small. I don't know if I love that anymore either. That's what part of this is shopping my stash is for, right? Find products that we don't necessarily love in our collection and get rid of them. Back into the palette, I'm gonna highlight my brow bone with this shade. It's called Catch Me. I'm using a Luxie 211 concealer brush. That's not highlighting as much as I want it to. I'm gonna go in with the Super Shock shade, side to side. I think that was a poor choice too. We're gonna go in with our highlighter. I don't like that. So let's hop back to the face. For foundation, I'm gonna use the Urban Decay Stay Naked. This technically is newer to my collection, but it's not a new foundation. I think I've only used it once or twice, but I absolutely loved it. My skin looked flawless, so I'm excited to try it again today. We're just gonna take 2 pumps, and I'm gonna use the IT Cosmetics Love is the Foundation brush. This is a limited edition brush that comes out every year, and I think it comes out in October, so the new one should be out soon. But I love this brush so much. I bought this based on Kathleen Light's recommendation. I feel like this shade is I try to match my foundation to my chest, and I feel like this foundation is a little bit light. I'm gonna add just a touch of bronzer drops. That's kind of how I change up my foundations. I use bronzer drops or a white foundation to change the shade to help with when I have a tan or don't have a tan. And for the bronzer drops, it's the Giorgio Armani Liquid Summer in the shade 100. I'm gonna add like half a pump more to take it down my neck a little bit. My neck is always really light too. I always end up bronzing it up to help blend it down. This is turning out not to be a great makeup day. I don't like the way this is sitting on my skin today. I think it's the primers that I used with this foundation. It's looking quite heavy and cakey. Let's see if some concealer can help. For concealer, I'm gonna go in with the Clinique Beyond Perfecting Concealer. This used to be a favorite as well. I used this concealer on my wedding day. I love it, or I used to love it. So what I do is I just put some on the back of my hand. That's probably way too much. And then I dot it on, since it's a squeezy tube. And we might be full coverage today, but this foundation isn't looking fabulous. I'm going back in with the Morphe E48. I'm gonna go in with this Real Techniques Deluxe Crease Brush. I use this for concealer, especially for spot concealing. I'm just gonna cover these up. I don't know how this is looking on camera, but I do not like this. It's looking quite matte and patchy on my nose. I I don't know if it's the primer or the combination of the concealer and the foundation or what. This concealer was my favorite when I had oily skin, so maybe it's not fabulous for skin that's a little bit drier. I do have drier skin nowadays. But this foundation worked for me a month or so ago, so I don't know why that's not working. So for bronzer, blush, and highlight, I'm going to go in with the same palette. It's the Becca X Chloe Malika collab. And this is what it looks like. I love this palette so much. Unfortunately, I don't believe it's available anymore. I'm taking a Real Techniques multitask brush for bronzer. And I don't set my cheeks or the outsides of my forehead normally because my skin starts looking crepey and dry if I do. So I just pat to start with to get some color on. I have a lot of redness in my cheeks, so I don't want the coverage of my foundation to move around. If you set your whole face with powder, you might not have to do that though. It's just how I do it. I'm a little less worried about it up here on my forehead because I don't have a ton to cover up here. If I had a blemish or something up there, then I would do the same technique. Just a little on the nose. And then to blend that out, I'm gonna go back in with my concealer brush and just tap over. So I'm also gonna take this bronzer down my neck to kind of blend into my chest. I'm gonna use this Wet n Wild brush. It doesn't have a name on it, but it came from a holiday kit, I believe. So for blush, I'm going to use the same palette and I'm going to go in with this darker peachy coral shade. And the brush is a Japanesque blush brush. One of the reasons why I love this palette so much is because of these glowy blushes. They're so beautiful. Look at that. No highlighter. And I'm gonna go in the highlighter into the highlighter of this palette. And I'm using a Morphe M501. And I typically take my time blending my highlighter in. I feel like it makes everything mesh better together. You can't tell the difference between my blush, bronzer, and highlighter here. There's no line. So now it's time to do the lower lash line. So we're going back into the ColourPop palette and I'm gonna take these two shades mixed together. I'm gonna use a Morphe E18. Now I'm gonna go in with a smaller brush, Morphe M149, and I'm gonna go into this deep shade Feel Free, kind of deepen up the right next to the lash line. I'm going back in with a little bit of Meadow to blend that out. And now I'm gonna go in with this highlighter and I'm gonna highlight the inner corner and the brow bone. I'm using a I'm using a Sephora Pro Flat Concealer brush in number 76. So now I'm gonna do my lashes, and I haven't tried this mascara yet, but it's been in my collection for a while. It's the Lash Princess Waterproof. And then I'm gonna put some of the regular Lash Princess on top. Fingers crossed that this goes well. My lashes don't hold a curl for everything. That's why I have to use waterproof as a base. If I don't, then they just look kind of droopy. And I always curl my lashes as well. It's looking good so far. So normally I only just do one coat of waterproof mascara. Today I'm gonna do two. This is looking a little flat. And then I'll go in for a third coat with the non-waterproof. And the reason why I put on regular mascara on top of the waterproof is because it's easier to take off at the end of the night. A lot of people don't like waterproof mascaras because they're hard to take off. I get mascara on my eyelids all the time with waterproof mascara too. It's hard to get it off. I have to fix that. I don't know if I like this. I feel like my lashes are looking kind of weird. We'll put some regular mascara on them and see how it goes. Well, they look all right, but it took a really long time to get here. I feel like this side is a little wonky still. I'll have to try out the waterproof version of that a couple of times and see how I feel. Sometimes once you open it and it's been open for a little while, things get better, but it's not a favorite right now. Whereas the regular Lash Princess is something I use all the time. So I'm just gonna put the regular one on my bottom lashes real fast. So I'm gonna go in and fix where I got mascara on my lid real quick. I'm gonna take this Morphe E18 and go into ICYMI. And I'm just gonna tap over that area. A little bit over here. Then I'm gonna go back in with the Super Shock shade a little bit and just tap that over a little bit as well. So now it's time for lips. I'm gonna go in with this e.l.f. Sheer lipstick in the shade Wild Peach and this Milani Keep It Full Gloss in Tropical Shine number 11. With this e.l.f. lipstick, I'm just gonna put a little bit in the center of the lips. Kind of that popsicle effect. Then we're just gonna rub the gloss on top. That is a beautiful lip combo. That's probably one of my favorite things from today, along with the eyeshadow. I forgot to powder, y'all. I'm gonna go in with this Becca powder again that we used in the beginning to set the eyes. I'm only gonna use a tiny bit of this. Well, apparently it's a lot. It's very finely milled. And I love powdering after I've done my blush, bronzer, and highlight. And then I just kind of sweep over these areas to blend it all together. It's called veiling. I did that before I knew what it was, and then I saw Lipstick Nick talk about that. Super cool. Let's see if that made the skin look better. Oh yeah, it looks a little better. I definitely still feel cakey though. All right, y'all, I'm gonna be real brave and I'm gonna go in with a setting spray too. This may ruin everything, but I'm gonna do it anyways. This is the iconic London Water Mist. And if you shake it up, it actually has a bunch of shimmer particles in it. I'm scared. Things don't normally go well when people use these kinds of things. Let's do a test on my arm. So I sprayed it all right here. Actually, it looks pretty nice. I see a little bit of sheen, but not a ton. So we're just gonna do this real far away and do a light dusting. I really can't tell if that did anything. Can you guys see a difference on camera? Not sure. All right, let's run through these products. So I think I did enjoy the ColourPop Hydrating Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Acid Primer. I do think the Milk Hydro Grip Primer might have been the reason that I was having some foundation issues today. Last time I wore this Stay Naked foundation, it looked fabulous. Things are looking decent now that my full face is finished, but I think maybe next time I need to put this on, wait a minute or two, and then go directly in with foundation instead of waiting and doing my eyes first. So I'll have to try that a couple more times and see if I like it. Even though the foundation didn't go well today, I still think that I like this. So I'm gonna use it a couple more times and go with my tried and true primers and see how that goes. This concealer did look pretty good. After a little bit and setting it with powder and everything, it looks okay. I do feel like my face looks cakey, but I think that's a combination of the primer and the foundation potentially. This foundation didn't look cakey last time I used it, so I'm really gonna have to try to figure out this Milk Hydro Grip Primer. I think that's the cause of my problems. It also could be that my skin is just being finicky. I feel like one day I love a foundation, like for a while the Joseph Colors foundation was my go-to and I was using it all the time, and then all of a sudden I put it on one day and my skin looked horrible. So I just think that my skin can be finicky. That might be what's happening today too. As for the brow products, I am not in love. I feel like my brow hairs are already falling down. This happens to me all the time. I feel like nothing I ever put in them holds them in. So I just need to find a better brow gel. I still didn't love this brow cushion. I think they look fine, but it wasn't my favorite anymore, so I may go ahead and get rid of this. and pass it on to somebody else. I love this palette. There's nothing wrong with this palette. I think it worked fabulous. I had barely any fallout, especially if you're using glitter shades. I think it looks great, so that's all good. I still also love this Becca Chloe Malika face palette. I love this blush so much. I feel like the highlight looks nice too, except for since my face feels cakey, I feel like my skin looks more textured today than normal. But I love the bronzer in this as well, so this is a hit for me. And I love both of the lip products. This Essence Lash Princess Waterproof, I'm gonna have to give it a couple more goes and see what happens. I'm not in love with how my lashes look today. I feel like they normally look better. The regular Lash Princess is a regular favorite of mine, so we'll see how this works. I need to use it a couple more times. The Becca powder I used, I think it looks nice. I feel like when I first put the foundation on that I could see all of my pores right around here. I have quite large pores around the sides of my nose and on my nose just from having oily skin, and they looked really weird when I first put the foundation on top of that milk primer, but they're looking pretty decent with this Becca powder on top. Yeah, I wish this still had the cooling feeling. That was kind of the best part about having this powder. It sucks that it lost that so quickly. It even has like a little seal on it, and I always close this. And it even says on here, keep me closed to keep me cool. And I did that and it still didn't keep the cool. I still have quite a bit of this powder left, but this may be something I can pan quite quickly. There's only 0.35 ounces in here. I think the Laura Mercier powder is a whole ounce. So this really isn't that much product. I feel like I already said it, but I really enjoyed both of these lip products. This is a great drugstore combo. I love peachy lips. I haven't worn this Milani lip gloss a lot, but I do have another shade of it and I highly enjoy that one. And this one is beautiful too. Lastly, this Iconic spray. I don't feel like this did anything for my face. I feel like I've saturated my face pretty well. I can see some sheen on my arm. I don't think you'll be able to see it on camera. And I feel like I do see some little tiny shimmer particles on my face. I'm not really down with that, but if it hydrated my face, I think I would be a little more into it. So I'll have to try that a couple more times as well. All right, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment down below. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks. Kai, are you done? Charlie, you too. Do I have to kick you guys out of here? Yes, you say? Charlie, you can't make noises, baby. So now it's time for lips. Can you guys stop walking? Hi, what's wrong? What's wrong? Lay down, please. What? What do you guys need? Pets? It messed everything up. What do you need, baby? Do you want to outside again?